is it not? And we are live. We're 6 seconds in. Hello, everybody. Just wait for a few numbers to get in before I crack on. Welcome to another Hair Socials. We are. I'll just check we're live actually before I wrap it on. And then I can bring the main guy in. You're not come to watch me. Yes, we're live. It's all working. All perfect. Thank God for that. So, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me again on another Hair Socials. A little bit different today. Andrew Barton has kindly given us his time, but unfortunately doesn't have the kit available, but did want to give us his time still and did want to have a chat with us and basically just get to know everybody in Hair Socials. So, without further ado, if everything goes to plan, if I press this button, we should have Andrew Barton here. There he is. Hello, mate.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Hair Socials.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm really good. Working through this terrible situation that everybody's in.
Yep.
But welcome to my living room in Brighton as well.
I know it's a beautiful living room. We're just talking off there, weren't we, about the colour? And I didn't even mention the dog, the beagle. You want to introduce us to the beagle?
Here's Ruby the beagle.
Ruby, that's it.
She's been fed. She's had her evening meal, so she's all settled now for the evening. So that's good.
Fantastic.
And she's loving Dad being at home. She's really loving it.
Do you know what? I must admit, it's a new thing for me. This being at home, as it is for most hairdressers, isn't it? It's quite a difficult thing to get time to be at home and just relax. But I mean, I'm quite enjoying the new challenge.
Yeah, I think part of the secret as well is just trying to be as focused and as routine and as organised as possible. I'm just making sure that I'm getting up at the same time every day. Exercise is a big part of my life, so I build that in every day. And thankfully, we live at the coast. My partner and I live at the coast, so we're in Brighton. So on those times when I'm allowed out, then I'm using the coastal path, and I'm running again. So that's great. That's great. And it's giving everybody, isn't it? All of us, like an opportunity to think about things, have time to spend on things as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking ahead to what the future is and the exciting challenges that brings as well.
I can't agree more with you, mate. I'm basically looking down at this, and my first question is, how are you coping with the lockdown? Have you got any worries and happiness? And obviously, the happiness part of it is we all seem to be adapting, we seem to be getting on with it and utilising the hour exercise. I don't think I've ever gone for an hour's walk in my life up until this, just for the sake of it, because it's something to do. So, but obviously there are the worries, there are the salons. You've got a new role within headmasters and things, and obviously there is them worries as well. And most people on here are probably working or salon owners.
Yeah, I mean we're a large organisation at Headmasters. We employ over 1,000 people.
Wow.
So there's obviously been the emotional and the business aspects of furloughing people and looking ahead to what people's futures look like.
Yeah.
I'm a franchisee as well, so I'm a franchisee of the Mayfair Salon in London.
Yeah.
I'm going through all the kind of challenges that every single business owner is going through, every single hairdresser. But I think, I'm being really careful not to get too involved with too much debate. I think there's a lot of noise being made about what the future could look like and how challenging that might be. But I think at the end of the day, none of us really know how we're going to come out of this.
No.
But I think what is for sure, our clients will be wanting to come back to the salon to pamper themselves, to take care of themselves.
Yep.
The salon, I've always realised as well, is it's beyond kind of the beautifying and making people look great. That confidence boosting work that we do every single day for clients. But it's also a very social element in people's lives.
Yeah.
The salon, whether you're in a village or a big town or a city centre, it is a real pillar of the community. We're part of the community, hairdressing salons. And the relationship that we have with our clients is just incredible. Nobody has, in any profession, has the relationship that we have with our clients.
No, we are.
So I think, clients will be engaged and they'll want to kind of come and look after themselves again. But I think what will also happen as well is that clients will be searching for good value.
Do you think? Yeah.
And what I've always realised, Simon, and I'm sure all the listeners here tonight will agree with this, value is not about a price tag. I mean, value is about the perception that somebody has around the experience, obviously the quality of the hairdressing, but the type of men and women that visit our type of salon, Hair Social listeners tonight, everybody understands that the quality of work is just expected from clients.
Yep.
What clients are going to be really looking for in the future is it good value for money?
Yep.
And I think, I am avoiding getting too much involved with debate, but this is a time when we've got some time to really consider, is it good value that we're offering? What can we brush up on? How can we improve what we do? How can we impress the clients? And how can we give them the value they'll be expecting when they do return to the salons?
Yeah, well, this is a massive, that's a massive good point, yeah. We have just got some people saying there's a bit of an echo, so let's just see if I can solve that in any way, shape or form. I have just pressed a button though, so let me know if that's done anything, and I will read out some of the comments while I try that out as well. So just people saying hi at the minute. Obviously Michael Convey says hi, Andrew Barton, Simon Townley, Emma Esme Hare, Charlie Brennan, Gemma Black, Nigel Kenny. The list goes on, all people just diving on saying hello. Morgan Flannery, hello. There's a real strong echo, can anyone hear it? I am trying to remove that, but this is a new way of doing it for me. I've not done it this way before, so bear with me. Yeah, there's a real strong echo, can anyone else hear it? Andrew, your dog's
Simon, I mean, your listeners as well, I've just got to say, what a fantastic initiative and how brilliant that you've pulled this together in a number of weeks. You're a hairdresser like most of the hairdressers listening to that, and you're learning completely different skills. And this is what's fantastic about this time that we've got that none of us expected, none of us really want, but you're upskilling, and that's absolutely brilliant. And you're connecting the industry together. And already in 2 weeks, look at the amount of followers that you've kind of got. It's brilliant.
Honestly, it's madness, Andrew. People like yourself. Can I just say, like, that I've messaged, say, 5 or 6 people, and 4 or 5 of you got back instantly, you being one of them. And I just basically said, look, I know we're friends on Facebook. You might not even remember me because I've got friends on my Facebook that you think I've met them, but where I've met them is another thing. And I just wanted to say thank you very, very much for joining us, because it's not easy to do these things from your home. You've got to learn a new technology. I've got to learn a new technology, and then all of a sudden we've got to become entertaining for people. But I think I've sorted the echo out. I think it's coming possibly from your. It might be from your end. I'll tell you what. Let me move my microphone. Let me put my microphone over. I mean, I've got a proper mic now. We've upgraded here at Air Social.
Wow, fancy.
Yeah, my best friend Joe Redmond does this for a living, so he's helped me. Right, does anyone else hear that? Is that better? Someone else has said that's better. Simon, you're amazing. We salute you. Thank you. Sorry. Someone's commenting on they love the beagle, so great prop there, mate.
Ruby, everybody loves Ruby.
She's beautiful, mate. She is. So let's get straight on then. Let's see if we can get on it. If there's any problems, just tell me, guys, and I'll try and help you. So let's start from the beginning, right? I wanted to know why you wanted to be an hairdresser. I know it's the most common question you get asked, so I am going to try and shoe on a bit of a curveball in every question. But yeah, when did you want to be an hairdresser? What made you want to be a hairdresser? Was your school and were your parents as supportive about it as you wanted them to be?
Okay, there's a lot of questions there, but I'll try my best to kind of answer them. I mean, like many hairdressers, not all hairdressers, but many hairdressers, I wasn't that academic at school.
No.
But the one thing that I was good at and that I really enjoyed was art and design and understanding kind of the aesthetics of how you create something. So I was destined for art school. That's what I was going to do. And I wanted to be a surface pattern designer, which was designing fabric and material. And then, I'm from a very, very working class family. I grew up on a council estate in Barnsley, in Yorkshire. I grew up in a village, and I come from a long generation of miners, and so going to art school was different in my family anyway.
Yeah.
And then I think the working class lad in me just kicked in, and I decided I didn't want to continue kind of in college, and I wanted to get a job so I just could get a pay packet and a wage, and so that I could spend it on clothes and go out at a weekend and have a good time. So I drifted into hairdressing. I got a job in hairdressing because I thought, oh, it looks quite cool. There's music playing. Everybody looks nice in the salon. It's clean. It's a clean job. So there was never any aspirations to become a hairdresser originally.
No.
And I studied a very formal apprenticeship in Barnsley in a village salon, which I'm eternally grateful for. I learned so much. And then I very quickly started to realize as well that I had become that designer. I was just a different designer. And instead of working with fabric, I worked with hair.
Yeah.
And that's how I've seen it ever since. I'm still a surface pattern designer, but I work with hair.
Louise Grayson said no dirty
so that's
hands.
how it all started for me.
Louise Grayson, commented saying no dirty hands. I think she's referring to the working class aspect. But yeah, what were you?
Well, that's my best friend who's checking in as well, who I grew up with in the same village, and we went to school together. And years later, we moved to London together at the same time.
Incredible. That's really cool. So did you get the support that you needed from school and thinking? Because in my sort of circumstance, just to put a context to it, the reason I'm asking this question is I didn't really dare tell my dad that I wanted to do hairdressing for no reason other than my own insecurities. But I think I did my full sort of night school before I even told my father, because I wasn't sure that that's exactly what I wanted to do. But I didn't know how to sort of give it across. I don't know if that's the right way to word it, but yeah, I just wondered how you sort of felt at the time that you decided you wanted to be a hairdresser.
Well, my mum was absolutely my best friend in the world. I lost her nearly 10 years ago, but my mum kind of was just. It's funny because I've said to friends. And my partner, Phil, I've kind of said just recently that during this crisis, it's reminded me of what my mum said to me at 16. And when I told her I wanted to be a hairdresser, she said, well, Andrew, women will always want their hair cutting.
That's it.
And that's where we are. When we do come out of this horrible situation, computers, technology is amazing. But it can't cut hair for us, and it can't colour hair for us.
Exactly.
So I think we've got an incredible opportunity when we come out of this. And I think the secret when we do come out of this is it's about personalisation. Every single client survey that we ever do, they always talk about personalised service. And I think that's where we can up our game and realise what we've got to do is personalise everything we do for that person that sat right in front of us at that time.
No, I agree. And Morgan Flannery's just come up with a good question. She's basically said, how hard was it for you to move to London?
Well, my first kind of move from that northern working class village that I grew up in, that my roots and heritage are still there. I'm a patron of Yorkshire, so I work in promoting Yorkshire as a county, enterprise, apprenticeships, training, business. So Yorkshire's still a very big part of who I am, and nearly 25 years away from Yorkshire, I've still not lost my northern accent, and I'm really proud of that.
I love that.
But my first move, I spent some time in Australia, which was incredible. I worked with my first taste of working in a salon group. I worked with a company called Morris Mead, and they were a group of 10 salons. And I learned a lot about the business of hairdressing salons and creating education and training for a group and a team of people, a bigger team of people. But then, like all of us know, the centre of the world for hairdressing is the UK.
Yeah.
And I decided to move back to the UK in my early 20s, and I made London home. And, you know, London comes with its joys and tribulations. You know, it's a love-hate relationship.
Well, yeah, that's one of my
I
questions.
still
What
get
was the
really
problems?
excited every time I walk over any of the bridges over the River Thames, because I feel like Dick Whittington, and I'm still looking for gold, but I've never found it. But you know, London does bring with it lots of kind of excitement, and you know, I've been asked many times about things like about the North and South divide.
Yep.
And you know, I think the answer for me is quite simple. You know, when you live and work in a city like London, where there's over 10, 12 million people, and then kind of the amount of people that come in as well, it does kind of create a different level of opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
So London has definitely given me a lot of opportunity. And you know, it is my home, but my Yorkshire roots are still very close to my heart.
I love that. I love that. I myself, I live in Burnley, which is Lancashire, not far, a couple of hours from Barnsley, down the 62, I think. And then, but yeah, I agree with that. I've had opportunities to work in London, and I don't know. I just felt like at the time it wasn't right for me. But I agree with you. With the opportunities are far greater down London, but equally, like you said, it is hard to leave that to take that step.
I think it's that thing, Simon, is that there's opportunity wherever you
Yeah.
are. Do you mean whether you're in a village or a town or a big city, there's opportunity. But obviously, when you live in a city where there's a big population, then the size of the opportunities are quite different.
No, yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. So when you moved to London, obviously you went there with aspirations and dreams, and like everybody does when they go to London. But who were your hair idols at that time to sort of inspire you? This is where you want to go and what route you want to take.
Well, I think hair idols, you know, idols have always been really the people that I've directly worked with.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I've always looked at those people. What can I learn from them? What can they show me? How can I grow from working with these people? And that goes right back to my apprenticeship in Barnsley. But my whole career has really been spent in the salon groups.
Yeah.
So, you know, I spent many years with the Tony and Guy organisation as that was growing. I then worked with the Saks organisation as that was growing. You know, I then opened my own salon in Covent Garden, which, you know, was a really exciting time. But after 6 years of building a great business, we had a huge rent increase of over 40%. And I had no choice but to close the salon. And that was one of the most challenging and difficult parts of my career, and really almost wiped me out.
Yeah.
But then an amazing opportunity happened for me, and I became creative director for the Urban Retreat Salon at Harrods, which at the time was the world's biggest hair and beauty destination. We employed 300 people in one site.
Wow.
And then more recently, as you said earlier, I've joined the incredible Headmasters organisation, where I'm creative and communications director. So my whole career has been around idols and brilliant people and incredible teams. And that's been my inspiration, and my complete motivation is around the teams that are around me all the time.
Yeah, you're only as good as the salon you're in sometimes, aren't you? And I can't disagree with that. The people that you're working with are a massive sort of push to where you want to be, myself included. Yeah, so we talked about that, but that brings us on nicely because you've listed all these sort of things, the ups, the downs, the tribulations, but you have been given the first honorary doctorates to a hairdresser. Can you tell us a bit more about
that? Yeah, I mean, it was super exciting to be asked. So I was given an honorary doctorate by Southampton Solent University, and it was the first time it's ever been awarded to a hairdresser, and it was basically given for services to the industry, which obviously kind of made me really proud. But also what it did was it made me super happy because it made me really look at how hairdressers are acknowledged by society. So it wasn't just a personal boost. For me, it was just an incredible thing for the whole industry that a hairdresser was being recognised as a doctorate of art.
No, I agree, yeah.
Because that's what we are. We're artists. We're creatives. So it's a doctorate of arts. And yeah, Dr. Barton.
I don't know if this was the first, or I don't know if you'd just been given it at this time, but I remember first myself hearing about it. Where was it the royal wedding? And wasn't you a guest on the BBC or something like that? And then you basically announced it then,
so
I think.
So I mean, as most of the people that are listening in to this broadcast, you know, TV's been quite a big part of my career.
Yeah.
So I work with Sky News.
Yeah.
And they basically they roll me out as a correspondent for anything that's hair remotely related. So it could be the Oscars, it could be the BAFTAs. It's been the royal weddings, which has just been super exciting because I've been like front stage as a broadcaster talking about what the princesses are wearing and kind of the hair. And so I work with Sky News kind of as a bit of a kind of hair correspondence.
I remember it because people won't know this, but I used to be an RD artist, and that was my first sort of face-to-face. Obviously, I've known about you my whole career since I was a child, since I watched RTV as a child. I remember seeing you on there, and I've known about you for all that time, but to meet you in person, well, that was my first sort of time, and then all of a sudden there was a royal wedding, there was this, there was that. I couldn't get away from you. I think it's one of the things that once you notice someone, you keep finding them because you want to more than anything, really. But I noticed that you was on the Sky News. I thought it was BBC. Apologies about that one. But so yeah, let's talk about that because you got the doctorate. You said you were proud. You said you were happy, but you've done some fantastic awards over the years. Hairdresser of the Year, was it? I've written down here. Bear with me before I get that wrong. British Hair Icon. But yeah, if you want, what other proud moments, and tell us about them.
Well, I mean, to be crowned British Hairdresser of the Year, you know, for a lad from Barnsley who started in the village salon. Oh my God. I mean, it was wonderful. And, you know, I had my family and my friends and my mother with me there that night. And it was amazing. But I think after the glory and the celebration and the giddiness and excitement, I realised quite quickly that a title of being British Hairdresser of the Year comes with some huge responsibilities.
Absolutely.
And I kind of really took that on board and realised that being given that title then meant that I was a voice for every single hairdresser in the UK, whether it's a small independent salon or wherever. I as British Hairdresser of the Year, I was that voice for the industry. So that led me then to start getting involved with kind of all kinds of projects of developing the future of British hairdressing, looking at apprenticeships, looking at training, looking at further education colleges, what they deliver, and also, you know, just making sure that British hairdressing was represented in the best light possible.
I love that, but I wonder if every hairdresser that's won British Hairdresser of the Year could say that. But we won't go into that one. But I love the fact that you took the responsibility on and you went with it, and that's unbelievable. I've got a pre-recorded question, if you will. It's from Sandra Warren, who is my mother. She said, "How did you make that leap into the TV? And at what point did you decide to launch your own product range?" I don't know if she's got aspirations for me there, but that's the question.
Okay. How did I make that leap? I mean, I was working around TV and media and doing shoots in magazines and things like that. So there was almost like the start of the foundation of it. So I guess there was the beginnings of a profile of Andrew Barton, the hairdresser. And I was doing Lorraine Kelly in the morning on the breakfast show, and I was doing makeovers on there. And then I got noticed for a new show that was at the time called 10 Years Younger, which is on Channel 4.
Tell us about that one as well, because that was a massive show, weren't it? Let's go into that one.
Yeah,
that was huge.
We filmed 10 Years Younger for 8 years, and it became a great British export. It's quite funny walking down the street, or we'll be in a restaurant, my boyfriend gets really embarrassed because I might get recognised. We were on holiday just recently, and I got recognised on the beach in Bali. But I think what I realised with 10 Years Younger as well, and I think wherever opportunity any of us have, you always have to look behind that opportunity and see the rationality behind it and what it actually means. And for me, 10 Years Younger, where we took somebody who looked pretty shabby and made them look amazing, I started to realise the power that every hairdresser has in the land. It doesn't matter where you work or how you work. We have a power as a hairdresser to not only transform how somebody looks, but how they feel about themselves as well.
I love that. Did you ever see it in? Because I've done a couple of TV things myself. I won't go into them ones because they're not as glamorous as yours. But did you ever see in like the contestants? And you know what I mean? Because I know what it's like. You're behind the scenes. There's a line of people trying to get on this show, and they might only take one of you out of this line. So did you ever say as a stylist as to who that person you think you could contribute more to?
Well, I mean, it was quite a big production, do you mean? So the production team, do you mean, would choose the people. But yes, we sometimes did go through a recruitment process, and there'd be a lineup of people. And then you say, you look so bad, you've got through. And they'd be like, yay! So, yeah, I mean, it was just an incredible experience. And, in answer to your mum's question, your other question was then, how did I end up with my shampoo in Asda?
Yeah.
I'm proud to say the Andrew Barton range has been in Asda now for over 12 years.
Fantastic.
It's been a great success story. We're in about 15 countries worldwide.
Amazing.
It's a British export, which is great. And the exciting thing is about the Andrew Barton hair care range is, again, like you're learning about broadcasting with what you're doing, I had to learn from the beginning what it meant like to build a hair care range. And unlike some other designers who have a range, I chose the harder path. It wasn't a license deal. I invested, I took bank loans, I grew the business from scratch. I owned the business. And I had to learn everything from formulation, packaging, forget things like design. That came like ages later. I had to learn about warehousing, distribution. And so even for me now in winter when it snows, I get really upset because it means the lorries can't get out of the warehouse and deliver the products to Asda.
So I never thought of that.
Excited about it. Oh, I'm gutted.
So there's 10 Years Younger. Where did 10 Years Younger lead then? So you went to a product range. Did you do any more sort of like big shows after that?
Well, that then led to kind of the work that I do with Sky News, and then there's lots of different things happen from time to time. So it's always exciting to get in front of the camera. And again, back to representing British hairdressing and be the wonderful thing is about 10 Years Younger as well. Whenever I would see people out in industry, they'd all say, "Oh, Andrew, it's so great what you do on the show and stuff." And I think what the show did for the general public, it made them realise that they didn't have to have a facelift. They didn't need to have the teeth done. Yes, they could look nice in a dress, but the one thing that absolutely transformed them was their hair.
Absolutely, I can't agree more.
And that's what we do every day. It's what we all do every single day, not just me on telly, but me in the chair in my salon in Mayfair, a headmaster, you in your chair, wherever you work, wherever your client is. We all have this wonderful, wonderful power, and that's the one thing that I learned about the show.
Well, Sarah Rule has just commented. I popped it on the screen now, but she said you're an excellent ambassador for the industry, and I can't find anyone that would ever disagree with that. So yeah, I agree with that one. Your friend, is it Louise Grayson? You said your friend was. Yeah, she's asking if that's a gin.
No, it's not. It's water.
Yeah, that's what he's telling us anyway. Lisa Jane Hicks, she was lucky enough.
There'd be ice and lemon in it if it was gin.
Yeah,
it's just water.
Lisa Hicks said, lucky enough to work with you in the early days of sax. Lisa Jane Hicks, that was.
Okay, hello, Lisa.
Want to ask you then, because you talk about the transformations, you talk about the hair and how we can transform anybody in sort of like the biggest transformation ways, but what was your signature hairstyle?
Well, I think for every hairdresser, it's really important to understand what their design aesthetic is, and what it is about creating hair that turns them on. You know, I realised quite early on in my career some of the stuff that didn't turn me on, and a lot of that is, you know, I'm not really about trendy or funky. I mean, the word funky kind of makes me feel physically sick. Do you know what I mean? It's just not who I am. Do you know what I mean? I'm quite classic. I like really beautiful hair. You know, I'm driven by kind of creating front cover type looks.
Yeah.
I'm always about the beauty of the hair. It's not about an extreme fringe or a piece popping up here and a piece popping out there. For me, it's about luxury.
Yeah.
It's about glamorous. And that's why the headmaster's aesthetic really sits brilliant with me in my role as creative director, because, you know, we're headmasters. Our philosophy is all about beautiful, fashionable, confidence boosting hair.
Love that.
And it just sits perfectly for me. You know, I love to see a fabulous blowout and a beautiful balayage. And so I guess I've just evolved and adapted what my signature is over the years. But I think part of that answer is as well, it was realising quite quickly and quite young as a hairdresser what the things were that I didn't necessarily like, that didn't feel right to me.
Yeah. That's a good point though, because I've seen this glamorous look on covers. I've seen it on celebrities that you've done. But obviously you've worked before I go into that question, somebody once said to me, and if this helps anybody that's watching, just like what you're saying, you learnt quite early on what you liked and what you're what you're about. I didn't learn that as early as I wanted to. I had a guy called Stuart Chapman, who you might have met at L'Oreal, and he basically lovely man, and we were stood at a bar, and I've got conflicting messages through my career, and someone saying like, just do everything you can, which is what I still do now. But everyone was like, do everything you can, put your hand up to everything. My granddad used to say when he were alive, you know, get on every bus because there might not be another. And I always remember these sort of phrases. And then Stuart said to me, look, we'd rather you be exceptional at one thing instead of good at everything. And if I can tell that to anybody that's watching, if you know what your niche is, don't try and tick every box. Just master that craft and be awesome at it. That's one of my tips. But going back to you, you've worked with some unbelievable celebrities over the years. Is there any of them that was your favourite, and why? Can I ask that question?
Well, it's, you know, I think with celebrity, if I'm going to be doing a celebrity's hair for the first time, I always get super nervous and quite anxious in advance. And it's usually associated with me having an expectation of who I think that person's going to be. And especially if it's somebody who I admire, respect, or I think's great. And then they'll let me down like a ton of bricks. Do you know what I mean? It's just, so I always go through this fear process. But the one thing that I've realised about working with celebrities is they're just like me and you. And usually when I'm working with them, they're at work.
Yeah.
And they've got all the challenges of what they're having to do at work. So they might be, you know, at a premiere, they might be at a PR junket, they might be on an advertising campaign, wherever it is. They're at work. So they've got all the pressures of what they've got to do and provide in their job and what they're being paid for. So, they're full of their own challenges. And
I can't agree more with you.
so, I think what's helped me over the years as well with celebrities is I'm going to go back to those Yorkshire Northern roots. I think being a Northern has really helped me.
Yeah.
Do you mean down to earth, happy, and asking people questions to get information to help them do their job?
This is a personal question now that's just come to me, but did you ever feel like, why me, when you're doing these celebrities there? And I don't mean in the negative term, but like almost questioning why. Did you ever get that sort of self-doubt in yourself?
Well, I think it goes back to, I think, even tonight, Simon, preparing to kind of meet Hair Social tonight, I've got butterflies.
Yeah,
I feel nervous because I think if you don't feel nervous, you don't care about what you're doing. So yes, every day I'm full of all kinds of kind of things that are bubbling around in my heart and in my head, and I just want to do a great job. And what people often ask me, what's the best piece of advice that you can give? And it goes back to my apprenticeship again. And I was taught never to accept okay as a standard.
Okay.
Because it means it's not.
No. I remember you saying
if we finish a client's hair in the salon, Simon, think about it. If we finish a client's hair in the salon and you show her the back with the mirror and she goes, yes, it's okay, it means it's not okay. She doesn't like it.
Yeah. No, I mean,
you've got to change something about it. So she goes, it's fantastic. And I've learned that in my career, and I've also learned it in my personal life as well.
Yeah.
I have an amazing partner, and he's incredibly supportive and gives me so much encouragement. And I don't have an okay relationship. I have a fantastic relationship with my partner, with my friends, with my family, with my work. And that for me is the driver in life, in career, in profession, in personal life, everything. Is that it's not okay. Everything's got to be better than okay, and that's my driver.
No, I massively believe in that, and that goes to why you are where you are. But yeah, thanks for answering that other question as well, because it's like something that I personally suffer with. If I do a few footballers there, and that's kind of like my niche is the men's sort of market. And whenever I get a new client that's a footballer messaging me, I still get that anxiety and that stress and that worry of like, there's loads of hairdressers that are as good as me. Why do they want me? And then I go into over preparing and stressing myself and doing exactly what you do. So it's nice to hear that I'm not going crazy anyway. You did an exhibition a couple of years ago now, I think it was. It was beehives, bobs and blow dries. Did you do that in Barnsley, I think?
Yeah, we did. We launched it in an art gallery called the Civic in Barnsley. You got it right. Beehives, bobs and blow dries.
Smashed it.
And we created it in collaboration with a guy called David Sinclair. He's the curator of the exhibition space in Barnsley. And also a childhood friend of mine, Donna Bevan. She's a professor of fashion and beauty journalism. And her mother was the local village hairdresser that we grew up in.
Yeah.
And she's got this massive fascination about hair. And over time, we all realised that there was this incredible story to be told about hair and hairdressing. So we launched the exhibition 2 years ago. It had incredible critical success. And I'm really, really excited. Actually, Hair Socials, you're getting this first.
Oh, you read it? Everyone listen.
It is appearing in London at the Fashion and Textile Museum, summer 2021.
2021.
So we're just in stages of kind of rebuilding it and preparing it ready for London. And then from then it becomes an international export. So
wow.
Super.
Well, my next question was Holly Trickett. I'll read it out anyway because I've highlighted her, bless her. Give her a moment. It's a friend of mine. Will there be any more exhibitions? So you've heard it here first. There will be 2021 summer in London. Personally, I'm delighted with that because L'Oreal promised us when I was at ID team, we'll do a day out to that, and it never happened, and I missed it. So I'm buzzing for that.
Okay.
um,
Well, I need to kind of give a heads up to L'Oreal Professional as well. I mean, I know this kind of, we're not advertising, not promoting here, but, we're talking about my career, and L'Oreal Professional has kind of been my chosen brand throughout the whole of my career, and the support that they've given me. I've, I have presented on stages around the world for L'Oreal Professional, including a football stadium with 3,000 people in China,
wow.
in Mexico, South Africa. Do you mean? And so I'm very grateful for kind of the encouragement and the development that I've had as well with a brand like L'Oreal Professional.
I can second that. Like I said earlier, I was an RD artist. I'm still within the L'Oreal group as an artist for Matrix, and the support from I've got. Sometimes I can't do the jobs that I've been asked to do, and often I'll do 5 jobs that I've not been asked to do, and they're always supportive, whichever way around it is, and I appreciate that for them. So yeah, big up to the L'Oreal. I just want to ask you, like, going to a more modern time now, because we've sort of done your history. How do you feel about the current Instagram and social media sort of era that's come about now? Because that's obviously a massive change since you started hairdressing.
Mm-hmm. I think it's an essential part of everybody's business. Social media is one aspect of marketing, and it's a brilliant aspect of PR. I think it's important to always be very careful. It's out there forever once you put something out on social media. So I think there has to be a level of professionalism. There has to be a huge level of care about what you're presenting on social media. And again, it really has to come back to the understanding of what your brand aesthetic is all about, and understanding what you want to communicate as a brand. So for us at Headmasters, we use social media as a fantastic tool to not only talk to the industry, but also to talk to our consumers, to our clients. And it's a great storytelling book. So,
Yeah,
it's a huge advantage to any business. And I think, during this time, while many of us have got time on our hands, if you're not fully skilled with social media, if you find it a bit challenging, then this is a great time to kind of upskill and learn a little bit more.
absolutely.
To promote yourself and your business.
I can't agree more. Again, you're pretty much nailing everything on the head that I think, because it's an online portfolio. Whether you want one or don't want one, I think you must have one, because people don't go now like they used to do, where they go around the salons and they look through the shop windows. First of all, your shop window is your Instagram, is your website, and if you can't run it yourself, get someone else to run it, because there's always someone keen in your salons that'll help you do it, even if it's not yourself.
Absolutely, Simon. But one of the things that I do want to kind of put out there for all the watchers, the viewers, is that from a salon business perspective, from a hairdresser perspective, still the most powerful communication tool that we have in our hands is word of mouth.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
So when you make that person, that woman or that man, so happy with their hair, they go back and they tell people.
No, I agree.
Their friends, their colleagues, kind of their family. And word of mouth is still the most powerful tool that we have.
Exactly. Well, I agree with that, because in the opposite terms, if one bad haircut goes to 10 different people, they say, don't they? That's the common myth anyway, whether that's true or not.
That goes back to what I was saying earlier about this is the time for us to really look at, are we value for money? My whole mantra for this year, every new year I set myself a new mantra. It's earn the right.
Yeah, I love that one. I do what.
And when we get back to work, when we get back to those salons, we have got to earn the right to make sure those clients want to come and spend money with us.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love that one. That's a great way of looking at it, because I've said this to my staff, that we've got to make sure, because people think they're going to be queuing around the door, but there's every salon going to be saying come to us, so you've got to make sure that you're worthy of them coming in your doors. Going on to back to the Instagram, there's a lady called Tegan who's known as Peach Soda on Instagram. She works for Not Another Salon. She'd asked a question. She said that she'd like to know your view on the rise of self-employed stylists and what direction you think that will take the industry.
I think there's all different ways of working, and what works for one person doesn't work for the other. At Masters, we employ our teams, and we invest heavily and massively in continual professional development through education and training. So for me and our organisation, employment works really well for us.
Yeah.
It's a whole part of our strategy. We've been in business for 4 decades at Headmasters, and training and education has always been at the very forefront of how we train people. When somebody joins the organisation to be employed with us, we take them straight away for 2 whole weeks into our training academy to share with them what our techniques are, how we approach our clients, what our customer service force is. Because how can we expect anybody to deliver our brand values unless we share with them what those brand values are?
Absolutely.
So, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
And there's different ways of approaching it. And I think, people have just got to decide in terms of what's the best way for them to work.
Interestingly, conflicting to my beliefs now, I've basically had my rise through social media as a self-employed stylist, got to where I got to with the RD team, etc. I was as an independent when I got in there, which was obviously, as you know, it's quite a rarer way to get in there. But now I have my own salon. I employ my people because, like I said, like you just said, I prefer development, and it's not about the money for me. It's about the hair first. So for me, it works better if they work within my thing, and I can control a bit more of what hair comes in and out, and etc. But yeah, I agree. So there is pros and cons to both sides of it. You talked about your products ranges back then, and obviously you've been 12 years, did you say, in Asda? Yeah. I've done well there because my memory's shocking. So tell me how they've evolved in that 12 years, because you, like you said, you've probably learned a lot more about these products. You developed them from the ground up. So how would you say they've developed more?
Well, we're constantly looking at new innovation. We're constantly looking at new ingredients. We're already looking at ideas for 2022.
Yeah.
Wow. So, there's a long process involved.
So that far in advance.
Also, I had to learn about things like how buyers buy in supermarkets, understanding the supermarket chain, how that works. And back to what I said earlier, with clients as well. My customers at Asda are looking for good value for money. And they want something that looks great, smells great, and performs. So, and the right price. So, that for me is those 4 things are our drivers. Performance is absolutely everything, because for those 12 years that I've had that range in Asda, I've always wanted to feel very proud about it. And I am. Do you know what I mean? It performs very well. So that's brilliant. And yeah.
Oh, we lost a bit of sound there. Hopefully that's just a time delay. But Dom Lahern, who owns Not How to Cut It, the podcast, he sent in a question.
Okay.
Dom Lahern has sent the question, how are you finding your position within Headmasters?
Hi, Dom. Lovely to hear from you. It's been 2 years now since I joined the organisation. As I said to you earlier, we employ over 1,000 people. We have nearly 60 salons across London and the counties.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I work with a brilliant team of people in our creative team. Claire, Nicole, Gareth, Jonathan, who are fantastic people. And, we're looking ahead to our next techniques, to our new collections, to our campaigns, to the marketing, to the PR, to the education, to the training. It's like ongoing. And I just love being part of a big team who have all kind of got a focus to deliver best quality hairdressing on the high street and brilliant delivery of what the brand values are. I love it. I'm right at home. I'm part of the senior management team. And it fits brilliantly.
Do you still do hair?
Yeah, so
how do you find time for that?
At least. No, I still do hair. I'll always do hair. I do hair generally 1 day a week in the salon. I go in at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, come home at 8, 9 o'clock at night, back-to-back clients all day. They feed me on a drip somewhere in between. And I have to say as well, I mean, to round up this whole kind of conversation, because I'm sure everybody doesn't want to listen to me all night, but despite having a career that's been very, very kind, and I've had some incredible experiences, my most rewarding work, 3 decades into doing this as a job, is standing behind that chair and doing somebody's hair and seeing that smile on somebody's face when you finish their hair is the most addictive thing. I just absolutely love it.
That's fantastic. Well, I am conscious of time because we are heading towards that hour. So there is one question I do want to ask before you go, because I know it's something that you're really passionate about. So I will shoehorn it in. You've launched the college. You've launched a training scholarship in the colleges called Andrew Barton London Education, which is called ABLE. Please, can you just tell us a bit more about that? And I know I'm sorry to keep you waiting for a bit longer.
It's all right. No, I'm glad that you're kind of finishing on that, because it's really important, and it's part of what I want to do in the years to come as well, is create a little bit of a legacy, if you like, of what my career has been all about. And I started to get, like many hairdressers, I became very tired and very upset about that constant debate that is going off about colleges don't educate hairdressing well and industry does it better.
Okay.
And, colleges have obviously got different challenges to what we've got in our salons. So I realised that there had to be some form of a bridge that could happen. So what ABLE is, Andrew Barton London Education, ABLE, that came together on a beer mat. What ABLE does is it's a scholarship for further education colleges. The students follow their traditional syllabus of qualification, MBQ, whatever the qualification is. But then they also get an added qualification they can study, which is ABLE. And it's basically my take on those standards of a nationally preferred standard. So it's everything from cutting, colouring, blow drying, customer service, business management. So when that student has completed both their traditional qualification and ABLE, my hope and the objective is that they come out better qualified, they're more ready for work, they're more ready for the salon environment, and they've got more opportunity for employment. So that's in a nutshell, that's what ABLE is about. So if there's anybody listening tonight that is remotely connected to a further education college and you're interested in more about ABLE, then get in touch with me.
That's awesome.
I'd love to talk to you about it.
That's awesome. There's a couple of colleges near me that do hairdressing, and I've had to go and do a few talks every now and again. So I'll definitely throw that at the people I know, because for me that was a massive gap between salon work and college education. I can't stress that enough. I went into owning a salon thinking I knew how to cut hair, and I was almost embarrassed when I look back now at what level I thought was able to cut hair. So yeah, I agree with you there. But that's it really. I know we've done nearly an hour, so I thank you so much for your time, because I just want to stress that people are giving this time for free. Andrew's just a lovely person. He's not hard to deal with at all. Just a quick message, and yeah, you were there. So thank you so much for doing that for me. And I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that we've got through this all right without making any sort of hiccups on the online basis of it. But it looks like it's done all right. So thank you so much.
Simon, thank you for asking. It's been my absolute pleasure. And again, hats off to you as well for making this happen and creating this. Well done, because you've turned this around in a number of weeks with just a little idea that you've grown. And I wish you every single piece of success. And to the viewers that are listening out there as well, stay focused. There's challenges ahead. We all know that. But, take on board some of the stuff that we've talked through tonight, and just look after yourself, guys. You need to be fit, strong, healthy and well, ready for when we get back.
I won't read out the comments, Andrew, but they are flying in saying well done, thank you, etc., etc. But yeah, thank you very much. I'll let you go. Thanks to Ruby. Thanks to your partner for letting us have you for an hour. And have a good night, my friend.
Pleasure. Bye everyone.
Bye.